Hey everybody, welcome to The Grid. My name is Scott Kelby, and I am joined by Brandon Heiss from Westcott. Welcome to the show. How you doing, man?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Today is a big day because this morning, when everyone was sleeping, Westcott introduced a brand new, very, very cool modifier, and we're going to talk about it and a bunch of lighting stuff today, but we did something special today. Didn't we?
We did. We had a fun little shoot.
We did. We did a shoot, and we're going to show you the shoot because we're going to show you exactly how to use this thing. So the thing we're going to talk about, do you have one? Did you bring one?
We have one right in the next studio over. We will bring that.
We'll bring one. We'll get one. But it is a beauty dish.
It is.
But the thing about it is, beauty dishes are the largest and just the most cumbersome thing to carry, which is why no one takes a beauty dish out on the road.
It's been a problem. You know, you have this large metal chunk of a gear,
right?
And sometimes they can be heavy. And we saw a need in the industry, and we came out with something that we.
But who designed this miracle of science?
We actually teamed up on this project with both of our friends, Joel Grimes.
Joel Grimes, master of the beauty dish.
Master himself, and he actually came to us and said, you know, I've got an idea. And we kind of took it from the original Rapid Box, which many people may be familiar with the Rapid Box for speed lights, for larger strobes.
Yeah.
And we kind of created a hybrid of a Rapid Box and a Zeppelin, and we created a beauty dish.
And why didn't you call it a high Zeppelin? There it is. Okay. There it is. Okay, so it looks like this. And look, it says new so many times. All right, so that's it. And what I like about this thing is nobody takes a beauty dish on the road because they're so darn big.
They don't.
Right? I mean, it's honestly, it's the box that they come in is generally bigger than your camera bag.
That's correct.
Like if you want to take even a 17-inch, now yours is 24-inch, which is even
inches,
better.
yeah.
But a 24-inch one, it's so big you wouldn't even want to take it with you. So what we're going to do in just a minute here is we wanted to show you it in use. We're going to take your questions and your comments and all that your stuff coming up in just a minute. But we went to the studio and we did a shoot so you could see. And here, we'll take a look at on my. They're going to say you're not on video control room 2 is what they're going to say because they always say stuff like that because that's how they roll. All right. So this is one of the images we made in the class today. So this is, well, not this little part here. That's my move tool. All right. So this is one of the images we made using this beauty dish, which is, well, the thing about it is, it's the one thing is that it's portable. And that's the big thing.
Yeah, so we were working indoors today, and obviously you
were working with it outdoors this morning.
We used it. Yeah, I was on a shoot myself this morning, and I was sweating. It is warm down here.
In Florida in summer? No.
Slightly.
It's beautiful.
Slightly warm.
It's beautiful. Oh, well, look, there's the box. Ooh, watch. A hand will magically sneak it onto the set. Watch. Amazing. Here it is. Ooh la la.
And this is the first actual box.
Yeah, this is the first one
that's ever came off the assembly
line.
It
even says like Joel Grimes right on the box, right? Beauty dish by Joel Grimes. I'm gonna hold it right there so Juan can zoom in on it. Beauty dish by Joel Grimes. There it is, right? Hi, it's camera 2. I love camera 2. Anyway, you're going to see us do the whole shoot, the whole thing live, and we're going to go through but can I show you what it is? Well, first, for those of you who aren't familiar with beauty dishes, because we're going to talk about lighting the whole show, but for those of you who are not familiar with what's so great about a beauty dish, is number one, it's very different than a softbox. A softbox is when you want to go super soft, super creamy. A beauty dish, I always think of is the next edgier stage. It's wonderful for like carving cheekbones, which is a big thing right now. It's wonderful for illuminating the face. And when you think of what is a beauty headshot's about makeup. It's about the person's face. It's about an expression and a feeling, where fashion is about the clothing, right?
Correct.
And so it is wonderful because and the technique we're going to use with it, because we do one other thing that helps alleviate the shadows mostly. And that makes for really, really nice skin. If you don't like retouching skin, you want you want a beauty dish. But of course, the thing about it is that they've been so, they're so cumbersome to carry around. They're usually made of metal.
Correct.
And as you'll see in just a second on the video, this thing collapses down into an umbrella.
Sure. And just to kind of piggyback what you said, when would you use a beauty dish? When would you not? I heard this analogy a while back, and it makes a lot of sense. If you have a young model, and I say young, I don't mean to
It's okay.
to discriminate, but
It's okay,
young model,
Brandon.
really good skin, use a beauty dish. If you have somebody maybe that's older, maybe that has some blemishes on their face, not the best, because what this is going to do is it's going to add contrast to the face, and it's going to make those things stand out more. So you would use a soft box if you have a little bit different.
Yeah, if you're trying to hide the ravages of time, a soft box will be great. But if you got someone with nice skin, it's now. I use this for lighting athletes because it's a little edgier.
Sure.
So I showed you what I would say would be the classic beauty look, but I use it for athletes all the time. And if you see those like Nike and Reebok and all kinds of ads, they're all using beauty dishes. Now, the thing that makes a beauty dish rock, two edge lights in the back. One of the things that the light does is the beauty dish actually hits a deflector, and you're going to see this in a moment. Hits the deflector, and then the light comes back and wraps out. So it stops most of, not all of, the hot spot that happens in the middle. A couple of questions coming in. MJB Photos 82 asks, will that beauty dish fit a ProPhoto B1 head?
It will.
Yes, it will. It absolutely will.
So all you have to do is select the ProPhoto mount. And that's the great thing about this. There are 5 different mounts that we've come up with. And so the mount is actually built in. We're looking at it right now. You can actually choose the Bowens, the Balcar, and the Balcar covers all your Alien B, Einstein, White Lightning, the Ellen Chrome, photogenic heads, and ultimately the ProPhoto lights.
Yeah,
so yes.
all right there. All right, and so Johan, hi Johan. Johan asks, how big is the beauty dish? 24 inches?
24 inches. Yep.
Can I say something now? This is just me talking. Now, this thing came out today. When he handed me when he handed me the Rapid box, I don't know, when you said 24 inches, I expected it to be like really giant and cumbersome. It's still pretty small. It's not, don't think that a 24 inch is, because it's not a 24-inch big square.
No.
It feels much smaller overall, so I actually think that's the perfect size. I think if you'd have gone to a 17 in that configuration, it would have felt too small.
It would look odd. Yeah, I mean, we have a 20-inch Rapid box for speedlights, and that one seems a bit small sometimes. So 24 seems to hit the sweet spot, especially for a beauty dish.
Okay, let's see. Scott, what then is the real difference in light between a beauty dish and a parabolic umbrella with light wrap?
With light wrap, I'm assuming they're meaning like
I think she means like a wraparound light.
A diffusion panel, yeah.
Well, do you really have so I have the 7-foot parabolic umbrella, which I actually like. Mm-hmm. But the parabolic umbrella does a couple of things. So now don't take this wrong, because I know that you guys make umbrellas. So don't take this wrong. But I'm not a huge fan of umbrellas, and I'm going to tell you why. And I had to put this down because it's just driving me nuts. All right. Because one of the things I like about a softbox is control of the beam of the light. When you have a softbox, including this particular light, you have a very good control of right where it's going. Light goes over here, light goes over there, light goes over there. With a parabolic, now you guys make a $99 parabolic, which I've used and it's pretty awesome. For $99, it's probably the best diffusion thing in the world. But the light goes that away. Yeah. It's a big boom of light, and that's nice if that's what you want, but it's not as controllable. The beam is not as condensed, and it really just kind of goes everywhere. Now, the other thing is, with that parabolic, you can choose a shoot-through parabolic, but the deflector that goes inside, I want to run this video because we keep talking about the deflector and stuff, and you guys haven't seen what we're talking about. We're going to run the video next, and I think this will help you a bit. But when you see that he puts a metal plate inside of there, and the light hits the metal plate first, and the light turns and bounces back, where with a parabolic, like your $99 shoot-through, you're shooting directly through it.
Correct.
Even if you turn it the other way, it's not the same as having that nice protected area from that metal, deflector?
Deflector plate.
Deflector plate.
Yep.
Okay, so you know what? Let's go do this. We put a little video together for you. The studio is right on the other side of these walls. We went over there and we brought a model in and we did basically the classic, the shot you just saw a minute ago. Here's the final shot if you want to see it again, and then we'll run the video. So here's the shot, and you can see the light wrapping around the back and the light in front and all that kind of stuff. So, all right, that's what we're shooting for. So let's go ahead and we're going to run the video. It's a few minutes long. We're going to stay here and we're going to take your questions as soon as we come back from the video. So if you have any questions, send them in while we're watching. We are streaming live today as well, simulcasting, right, to Facebook. So we're going to do that. Jen is out today. Kim, my book editor, Kim, is manning the chops. So be nice to Kim. This is her first time doing it. She's very nervous. She's sweating profusely like you can't even imagine. It looks like someone did that bucket challenge with her just a minute ago. Anyway, but say hi to Kim in the chat, all you guys that are regulars. And here's the video that we shot a little bit earlier today using the Rapid Box Beauty Dish by Joel Grimes in action. Okay, so we're here. Brandon's got the Rapid Box Beauty Dish. Look how small this bad boy is, and it weighs like nothing. This weighs like, and look, you can put your lunch in it when you take the soft box out. So I think that's certainly, is that some kind of a benefit?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. This is Ala. She's going to be helping us with our shoot here. She's our model. And we've already got one set up, so you can see how we're going to set up. And I'll go through the settings and stuff in just a second. But one of the things I wanted Brandon to do is show us how easy it is to put together on the set.
Yeah, so from start to finish, again, like Scott mentioned, I'll have you hold that. That is the deflector plate.
The deflector plate. It's the official name.
And it's got an umbrella style mount.
Hey, can we show how small that is, though? Because I think when people think it's an umbrella, they don't realize it's like an umbrella.
Yeah.
It really is very, very cleverly designed.
Very small, very portable, very easy. If you're familiar with our speed light or our strobe Rapid Box line, much similar design, except we needed to round this out a little bit more. So there's 16 rods, and you think, oh my God, 16 rods, that's crazy. But you don't have to put them in. The speed ring's already built in, so
it's ready to go.
That's easy. I'll take the deflector plate, literally just go right through the spokes, and I snap that in.
Can you guys see that there? Can you see them?
Click that in.
There you go. It snaps. And why this is so important is because the light's actually going to hit that deflector plate, go back into the beauty dish and come out, and that's what gives it that look.
And so once that's in there, that literally just snaps right in. And you can put the diffusion panel on right on top.
Velcro's right on here.
So from start to finish with explanation, that probably took all of about 2 minutes. God forbid. Oops, we're snug up here. There we go.
Yeah, you over-snugged the diffuser. All right. So now that this is what it's going to look like, and it's so lightweight. Now, so what we're going to do is this. We already have one set up here, and it's set up directly in front of our subject. Now, we have a 30-inch, is it 30-inch?
30-inch, yep.
This is a 30-inch Westcott reflector. It's silver. So what we're trying to do is the light is coming at a 45-degree angle straight down here on Ala. We've got this is going to send some of that light back up just to take care of the shadows under her chin. And then behind us, we have a 5-foot Westcott Octabank. So what we're doing with the Octabank is, if you notice, the Octabank is kind of tipped backwards. It's aimed at a 45-degree angle. It's light we're trying to light the ceiling. And what that does is that creates the lights coming around her chin, the highlight kicker lights, the accent lights coming around the sides of her cheeks and her chin, a little bit on her chin, mostly on the sides of her cheeks, and it kind of just does a really nice job of sculpting the whole image. Now, we're shooting in manual mode. We're in the studio, so I try to be at like F11 so that everything's in focus. Now, you could technically use like an ND filter and put her hair in the back out of focus, but we want to keep everything in focus. I'm focusing right on her eyes, and she's going to be straight towards camera. Now, a couple of things that I told her to do as far as posing goes is one of the things that's kind of a classic thing about beauty is to stretch your neck. It has to be a long neck. I've made numerous giraffe references during our shoot, so she knows I'm a glamorous giraffe. So long neck and very, very subtle movements. She'll mostly be aiming straight towards the camera. I'm going to have her tip her chin up a little bit. When she tips her chin up, it does a couple of different things. If she tips her chin down, it makes her eyes look really big, which is awesome. But the light where it's positioned, if her chin goes up a little bit, it looks a little more elegant, a little more arrogant,
a little more snobby, which is what you want when you're using a rapid box. They almost call it the snobby box. They were this close. Is that true? Is that almost called? No?
That was never part of the discussion.
That was part of the discussion. It was just a very small part of it. All right, let's go ahead and take a couple of test shots. I'm tethered into Lightroom over here. So when I take a shot with the camera, you'll see it appear right there on the screen. I don't know how great you're gonna be able to see it on the screen, but I'll show a couple of shots here during the show. Let's go ahead and take a shot. Don't forget the neck thing. There you go. And all that thing. Oh, you were actually paying attention. I didn't realize that. Okay, here we go. Most people ignore what I say. All right, that looks good. Let's take a couple more. And let me, here we go. It's taking its darn time coming in. Or it's doing my favorite thing in Lightroom, which is not coming in at all. Why does this happen? Well, I'll tell you this. On the current tour that I'm on, going around the country, before I actually use tethering in the class, you know what I start with? The 5 troubleshooting things you'll need to know for tethering. Because very often, when you least expect it, during the shoot, it just simply stops. Let's go through the troubleshooting things. We didn't really plan on doing troubleshooting today in Lightroom, but you know what? Let's do this.
We're here.
Number one will usually fix it. All right, well, 2 will fix it. Number 1, make sure your camera's not asleep, because they go to sleep. This one's awake, because we took a shot. The photo just never actually appeared in Lightroom, which is sad. So let's just make sure it didn't appear. All right, so now what we're gonna do is we're gonna turn off tethering and turn it back on. Let's go up here and go File, Tethered Capture, stop it, and then go start it again. That will usually do the trick. My guess is it sees the camera. I'll bet you it works now. Here we go. Same thing, what you did before was perfect. And right towards the camera, nice. And there we go. That looks great on the back of the camera. Let's see if it comes in. It does. It fixed the problem. There we go. So you see how the light, the kicker light, is coming from behind and sculpting both sides of her face. And then the shadows are being filled in a bit here. If I wanted to fill in the shadows a little bit more, there's 2 things that we can do. You can use that adjustment brush inside of Lightroom. That would do it. Or instead of using a reflector, we could switch to another softbox underneath. And then it's just a matter of balancing the 2 to where there's a little more light above than there is below. Any other exciting things to tell us about this before we jump back to the grid set?
I think we'll talk a little bit more about it on the set here.
Yes, we will.
In
and
a few seconds.
And it's lighting day, of course, so we'll be talking about lighting. But wanted to give you an idea how the whole thing works and kind of what our setup was. And so this is really, we're lighting our subject with just one light. And we're going to shoot a couple more things and show you some examples as we go. But we wanted to show you this behind the scenes so you can see how easy it is and why we love this so much. Because you know what one of the problems is, and we talked about this earlier on the show, was traveling with beauty dishes. It's like, so figure it this way.
You don't do it.
You have a
You
camera
rent them.
bag, and there's no place, there's impossible to put it in your camera bag. So you have something as big as your camera bag. Usually the box that holds a beauty dish is bigger than the box that is your camera bag. So
Or one of
that's,
those hat boxes.
yes,
You
like
know,
a
the
giant hat box, but now it's super, super small, and of course you can store your lunch in it afterwards. All right, back to the set.
Okay, so we're back. How you like the way that Lightroom just kind of dumped on us, right?
Yeah, that's a problem. I wish there was a button that did an automatic stop tethering, start tethering, all in one action. That's what I want Lightroom to do.
Yeah, you know where the good place to put
Because
that
I
would
do
be?
that all the time.
Yeah, it does. It drops. It is the, what do we call it? The flakiest thing Adobe's ever made is that for whatever reason,
Correct.
it stops for no reason in the middle of the shoot. Like literally, I had just done a test shoot. We start the cameras rolling and it goes out. And at my seminar tour, I literally, before I use it, I give the 5 steps. We were able to get through the 2 steps, but I give the 5 steps on how to fix tethering because it's not a matter of will it go down, it's when it goes down, here's what to do. Your questions have been pouring in. We got plenty of them, so we're going to go down the list, but I did think it was really nice the way Lightroom just said, nope, we're not doing it. All right, Sean McCormick. Hey, Sean from Ireland. Awesome, awesome guy. If it is the same Sean. If you're not the same Sean, I'm sure you're still very nice. But I'm going to assume that this is Sean McCormick, who is a Lightroom guru. He is a very good photographer. I follow him on Instagram. So if you're not following Sean on Instagram, go follow him. And I believe he's an audio engineer, which just extra props and respect.
I've met him at Photoshop World, I believe. And he is, if it's the same guy, really good guy. He's
a very, very good guy. Sean asks, are there more than one type of deflector? Because I know that certain companies will make white and gold and silver. Is there?
There is one type of deflector plate. It is a silver deflector plate, as you saw in the video. And look at that. Our Pro Photo mount literally landed on the desk, came right from the ceiling while you guys were watching that video. So there is one type of deflector plate.
Right. So that has the Pro Photo mount. Oh, it does have the Pro Photo mount on it, doesn't it?
Big rubber gasket.
So it's important that you order the one for your light.
Correct. Yep.
All right.
And that's easy to select. They all have a different SKU. They're all labeled on our website.
All right.
accordingly.
Anonymous 613254811 asks, what kind of light does this attach to?
Well, it attaches to strobes or continuous lights, like monolights, like the Westcott Skylux is a Bowen's mount, but it attaches to any type of monolight strobe or continuous light.
All right, so pretty much any studio strobe.
Correct.
Johan asks, on what brands does this beauty dish work? I have Falcon Eyes flash units. Does it fit on that? Do they use a Bowen mount?
I think Falcon Eyes does use a Bowen's mount. There's probably somebody that could look that up, but you could just Google something like what type of speed ring does Falcon Eyes strobes take, or call Falcon Eyes or email Falcon Eyes, and they will lead you in the right direction.
All right, Stephanie asks, is there an adapter to use this with speed lights?
Currently, there's not, since the actual strobe mount is built in, but something that, we often do at Westcott is we listen to customer feedback, and we currently have a 26. Yeah, we have a 26-inch rapid box that has a deflector plate that is intended for speedlight use, and that one would probably be better if you want to work with speedlights. Same build, opens and closes really easily. Now, one thing that you will notice about this unit is that it has 16 ribs. And a lot of people, say, oh my gosh, that's a lot. But that 16 ribs is to make it rounded. Look how perfectly round that is.
Yeah, it's round. It's not an octa.
Correct. And that's our rapid box units for the speed lights and our rapid box.
Hey, can I ask you a question? Why does anybody care how many bars it has? I mean, seriously, if it's 12 or 16, I wouldn't know. I wouldn't care.
So just the more rods you have, the more rounded it's going to be. I mean,
well, that's a good thing, though, right?
That's a great thing. Yeah,
Okay.
and that's when you look at a traditional beauty dish, it's not an octa; it is a curved piece of metal. So that's why we went with the 16, and it's like a drum. So it has really nice light output.
It's really well made. That was one of the first things that struck me. And let's see, I think it's Roger or Roger, Boss 69, and I probably just butchered your name. Sorry. Says, okay, I'm sold. What would make it amazing if there was a grid for it also? Is there one? Well, by the way, this is the first question I asked when he handed it to me today, because I looked at the end and I saw Velcro all the way around. I said, ooh, is there a grid for this?
So if you notice, there is a little bit of Velcro right on the outer edge. That is for two things. That's for, first off, the diffusion panel, which comes with the unit.
Right.
And two, it leaves room open for a potential grid down the road. We do not have anything currently.
Boo.
No, don't shame me. It's only day one.
That's called grid shaming.
It's day
grid
one.
shaming on the grid. It just all goes together. But it is day one. So, but I will have to agree. That would be the next thing I would love. Because for those of you who don't know what a fabric grid does, and you guys sell all kinds of fabric grids.
Honeycomb
So
grids, yeah.
this will not be something I think that would be
egg crate
surprising to see come from you, egg crate grids. Is it already takes the beam that's going out like this and just puts it into a very cone of light. So it reins it in even further, and it does a great job. They're not super cheap.
They're not super cheap, but they are really, really useful. And actually, speaking of Joel Grimes, who we've teamed up with on this modifier, we were doing content one time with Joel, and he asked for an egg crate grid on two large boxes that he was using as edge lights, and I thought, the same thing. He wants to focus that light down. And he goes, I don't use grids to focus the light down.
Lens flare? To eliminate lens flare.
That's why Joel
son of a gun.
uses
that son of a gun.
So,
he's smart.
Multiple uses. That's if you want to be a fly on the wall with Joel Grimes, he uses egg crate grids to eliminate lens flare.
Hey, Simon Stahl from Switzerland. Hi, Simon. Says, what are the other 3 steps of troubleshooting Lightroom? So number 1 is to make sure your camera is on. Sometimes your camera goes to sleep. You have to wake it up.
That's number one. Number two is to do what we did in the video. Turn it off, turn it off.
Which is the most common.
Those are the most common. Number three is to actually check and see that your tethering cable hasn't come loose. It did on me today at some point. I actually, for the first time, saw a warning. I've never seen this in Lightroom before. A warning came up and said, the tethering is intermittent with your camera. I've never seen that before. And sure enough, my plug was not fully plugged into the side of the camera. And then later I saw it again and I checked both my connections and it didn't happen again. So that's number three, is to check your cable. Number four, chances are you won't have to do this. Quit Lightroom, restart, start tethering. If none of that works, you have to go to the nuclear option, which is to restart your computer. Because when things go bad, restarting your computer will normally fix it.
Can you just blow in their keyboard like the old Nintendo?
As well. Sometimes that will do it. All right. Anonymous 673-688-8881 says, what does the Rapid Box Beauty Dish cost for the ProPhoto B1? And there's an interesting story about the cost. So what's the regular box cost for like the Elechrome? We used the Elechrome strobes today.
4 out of the 5 mounts cost $299. And the ProPhoto versions cost $349. So, and this is something that I know has actually been mentioned on the grid before. Probably the last time around, I was hanging with RC and we talked about it. But the mount on a ProPhoto is different. It's actually a much better built mount.
No, their mounts are good.
Yeah, it's a good mount, and it's not just a pressed piece of metal. It's actually, you've got a rubber gasket with another metal clip on top of that. So there's a little bit more to the ProPhoto mount, which makes that. Yeah.
And it is definitely very, very nice. All right, let's see. Is there any quality difference between that and the other style Beauty Dish, since this one looks to be deeper?
So the deeper gives you a little bit more of a true kind of rounded edge. That's why we did that, but it's still hitting that deflector plate, which, as you mentioned earlier, it's killing that hot spot, and then the light is really wrapping around towards the edges more. I don't see a big difference. When going through the product development, talking with Joel, he really put this thing through the test to make it act like a traditional metal.
I can tell you from shooting it for quite a bit today, because I'll show you a couple other shoots we did with it as well, because we did the classic beauty look, but we did a couple other shoots. Well, I could not notice a single difference. Looking at the images, you couldn't say, oh, that was shot with it looks like the real thing. I mean, it is the real thing. It's just made a different way. But I don't think that you would notice, just based on my own experience, a difference between this and the traditional hard metal.
No. Yeah. I mean, he brings up a good point. It is certainly deeper, but really by maybe 2 or 3 inches.
3 inches, yeah. Not much. All righty, let's see. So Don Klinsky, my 5D Mark II won't trigger my Elechrome strobes. Set at f11 at 1/25 like Scott does. Camera shows as underexposed and won't snap the photo. Would be exposed properly with flash. Am I missing a setting in the camera or something? Test button. Yeah, something's funky there, Don. I've never seen a camera that just wouldn't fire your strobes, because really those fires, I mean, just like when you press the test button and the strobes fire, it's kind of independent from everything but your shutter, right? I don't know what setting would be in a 5D Mark II, but Don, here's what you got to do. This is what you got to do. You got to borrow somebody else's camera. Borrow a friend's camera, borrow somebody else's, slide your Skyport on top, take a shot, and then if it at those settings, but here's what you would ideally do. Borrow somebody else's 5D Mark II. No sense in I'm borrowing, someone's Nikon D5 or a 5D Mark III. Find somebody that's got a 5D Mark II, borrow that and test it. I mean, it
could be a hot shoe issue.
It could be a hot shoe issue. I don't know. That's very, very funky. I can tell you I've never heard of that, but you know what I have heard? I've heard that it's break time. Now, we have some other lighting looks I want to show you, because we tried some other stuff, and I have a lighting tip for you a little later as well. So we're going to take a short break. When we come back, Brandon's here. We've got a big old Pro Photo Mountain softbox. We're taking your questions. Thanks for everybody who is shooting in questions, and welcome to everyone who's watching us here on Facebook. Glad to have you guys here simulcasting with us today. Stick around. We'll be right back. We're live on the grid, talking lighting. Brandon.
Hi everybody, Scott Kelby here. I just finished taping an awesome new class. I am so excited about it. It's called From Flat to Fabulous in Photoshop. I'm taking 10 different images. These are all kinds of different images, like from landscapes to portraits to location shoots, black and whites to panos to all this different stuff. I'm gonna take you through from beginning to end, from the raw image to a rockin' final image. You're gonna see it all. Whatever I have to do to make it work, I do it. Come check it out exclusively at Kelby One.
In a world where the next hotshot is out of reach, one brand stands alone to let you take it. Meet Max. June 1st. Kickstarter only. 30 days. Don't miss it.
Hey guys, Christy from Shark Pixel here, and I am so excited to share my new class with you. It's all about how to protect yourself against some of the most common mistakes that photographers make, especially when they're just starting out in their career. You're going to learn things like how to fix overexposed images. You're going to learn how to get rid of motion blur from images, how to get rid of noise from images. You're also going to learn how to even the lighting on your client's face. These are all super awesome tips that you're going to learn in this next class. So check it out only on kelby1.com.
Hey, we're back. Scott Kelby here with Brandon Heiss from Westcott. We're talking lighting. Just want to mention, every Thursday is New Class Thursday at Kelby One. Last week, we had 2 new classes come out. I released 2 stunning classes on Lightroom. I know how you love Lightroom,
I
especially
love
when you're
Lightroom.
tethering.
It's
I do.
always
I love
changing.
it.
It's important to keep up to date with
Lightroom
it.
is where it's at. I'm on the seminar tour, and I usually ask the crowd at some point, because I do a Lightroom class, how many of you are using Lightroom? And there's so many people, it's like almost everyone. I go, well, it's not even fair to ask that. Who's not using Lightroom? And like 3 people. Me. Everybody's using it. Okay.
And if you haven't gone to a Shoot Like a Pro
Yeah, you
on the
came to
tour,
one.
I came to the one in Richmond
Yeah.
a few months back. I learned more about Lightroom in just your little afternoon session.
Yeah, the 1 hour session.
Than I could learn in weeks scouring YouTube. So
Yeah, a lot of people write that as one of their favorite parts of the
It
day,
is
which I'm very
fantastic.
grateful.
So, thank you.
We have some more questions. Anyway, I do want to mention, so last week I came out with 2 Lightroom classes. One was on the adjustment brush. One was on backing up your photo library and backing up your Lightroom catalog. So it's half of a protect your stuff, half of a protect your catalog class that went live. But then tomorrow we have a brand new class from Christina Shirk, who is a high-end retoucher. Her class is called 10 Mistakes Every New Photographer Makes and How to Fix Them, right? Christina is just fantastic. She's wonderful. Make sure you go and check out her brand new class. It actually debuts tonight. So you can go watch it tonight or tomorrow over on Kelby One. Okay, by the way, if you're not a Kelby One member, you can still watch Christina's class. Go take the free trial. Go to kelby1.com, take the free trial, watch your class like right now. Don't do it right now. Do it after the grid, right?
not right now.
Yes, here we go.
After
Keith
dinner.
Bailey asks, is there room in the bag for my lunch and the umbrella? Well, how about a light lunch? If you had a really light lunch, a sandwich maybe.
A banana.
A banana and some chips, I think probably that's it. Alrighty, so Sheldon Evans says, the latest upgrade to Lightroom is giving the loading message for the longest time on any news, or is this just me? Sheldon, I would uninstall and reinstall. I've done the latest upgrade to Lightroom. Obviously, that's what I'm using today, and I haven't noticed that problem at all, just loading an image. When you load images, it should come in, it should be going fast and everything. If something's funky there, you can reset your preferences in Lightroom, quit Lightroom, and then if you're on Mac, you're gonna hold, I believe, Option and Command and restart. If you're on Windows, I believe it is Shift-Alt, and if not, it's Shift-Control-Alt, but it's one of those three. Restart Lightroom, and it'll reset your preferences. If that doesn't work, uninstall and reinstall, and that should do it. Okay, so Simon Stolly? I'm going to say Stolly. The deflector plate seems very far back. How does it manage to spread the light to the edge of the beauty dish, given that it's quite deep?
So Simon, to answer your question, that's really more engineering. But I know for a fact, because we've tested this, when you underexpose, your camera settings and shoot directly into the face of this beauty dish, you will actually see the hot spot eliminated right in the center, and you will see just a ring right out around the edges. So
actually, it's further out than I think that you think. I don't know if we'll be able to see, but it's not like an inch or two back. It's probably out 6 inches.
And the reason we had to do that is because some different light manufacturers, their modeling lamp actually goes, a little bit farther. Okay, so we didn't want it to.
Yeah,
to be
it's
able to
6
hit
or 8
that.
inches. It's probably a little further out there than you think. It is far back from the front, but it's not too close to the back. How's that? Dobifan asks, will it work with Paul C. Buff Einstein units?
It will, and that is actually the Balcar mount, BALCAR. So that's the one that you're going to get.
How would anyone know that? Okay,
I don't know.
Can we look at a couple more images? So I want to show you this one on screen here. So this is, I'll just go to full screen here just for fun. So this is, we took the same beauty dish and just literally, this is going to sound silly, we moved it over to the side. Now, I think that people think of a beauty dish only being used directly in front for the classic look, but there it is, and I'll show you here's the edgy look it gets. All right, so this is when it's to the side. I wanted to do something edgier, so that I think kind of did it there. Now,
And I think you show a really unique, different way to use a beauty dish. A lot of people think, oh, I've got a beauty dish. I'm doing, more
just beauty
beauty
headshots.
headshots. But no, I mean, you could put it off to the side and use it in a non-traditional way as well. And that was with the deflector plate still.
Yeah, and that's with the deflector plate in as well. And it's still, it's soft enough, but it still has that little bit of edgy and a little bit of punch that I really think makes it pretty sweet. So that was, and again, I'll show you, let me just jump back here and I'll show you the production shot so you can see it. Was it this one? No, that's not that one. There we go. There it is. So you can see the lights over here to the side. We have a strobe attached to it, and we're tethering here with Tether Tools gear right into the light. Okay, so that was that. Another thing that we did today, you just kind of saw a little preview of, and I was going to show you a little trick on this shot, okay? So this is, I brought the light back towards the center, but I didn't want to do just a straight ahead beauty look, right? So I wanted to do something more fashiony, but I do want to mention that a lot of times when you see this kind of look just on straight gray is why do people shoot so much on gray? One of the reasons is that you can literally put all kinds of different background. If you start with gray, you can make it anything. One thing that you'll see done a lot is they'll pick a color from the image. Like you'll use the eyedropper tool here. You'll grab maybe this blue on her vest, right? And you'll create a new layer and fill that layer with blue. Then I'll switch the blend mode here in the layers menu. Let's say that again. We'll go to the layers panel. We'll go to the blend modes and switch to color. That brings through just the color. Now, she's completely blue, which looks bad, so you're going to add a layer mask. Now, if I just get the brush tool and paint her back in, right, she will be just that very warm color that we had before. So what I generally do is instead of painting at 100%, I'll paint between 60 and 70%. So that way it picks up a little of that blue as you paint, so she looks like she was shot on that color background. Now I will show you one more trick as I'm just painting this in real quick. I'm just going to do this real quick, and it doesn't really require a tremendous amount.
That's much more natural because in a studio scene or even outdoors, you have a lot of reflective
and
colors
spill
and
off,
spill
right?
and all that fun stuff.
So here's what I'm going to show you, though. Let me go back, and I have a little spill over here, so I'm going to press the letter X to swap my foreground and background color and get rid of that. I was careless in my painting. So this is how, and you'll see this done a lot. With different color backgrounds and things, because not everybody has 10 rolls of like seamless, a yellow roll and a blue roll, and I just picked this blue, probably is not the best color. But if you go, well, doesn't that also kind of mute her colors on her outfit? Yes, it does, but you're painting at 70%, which means if you go back, release the mouse button. So I let go of the mouse button, make sure black's your foreground color. When you paint over it, it brings in the full 100% color. So that way, if you decide there's a particular thing that you want to have that color, and you could also change this to red, or you could choose any color that you wanted out of here for the background. So if you want to trash that, you could go and take a color like maybe the color of her lipstick, and then add a new layer, fill it with that color, change the mode to color, it's going to be more of a pink, and then do the exact same thing. Come in here, just add the layer mask. And again, don't paint it 100% because it'll look like there was no way she was on that background. I like to let a little of that color kind of show through. And I'm just doing this real quickly just to show you, because people ask us about why you always shoot on a gray background. Because not only that, we can add other backgrounds. I'll grab another background here in a second, but we're going to get some of your questions before I get too far off topic here. Let's see. Brandy Hinneman Williams asks, what are the best camera settings for in-studio pictures? Well, I kind of talked about that during that video we showed just a few minutes ago. I like to shoot at a more like an f8, f10, f11-ish to keep everything in focus. For studio portraiture, that's probably very, very common. I'd say f11 is probably maybe the most common studio f-stop. But there's never a rule. You could say, well, what if you want their hair in the background out of focus? Well, then you're probably going to use an ND filter to let you be able to get your strobes low. It opens up a whole other can of worms. But just if I were to have to answer your question just as simply as I can, I would say f11 is a really great camera setting for studio pictures. I would say you're going to be using flash, use your lowest ISO, your cleanest, lowest ISO. I was shooting at 100 ISO. And your shutter speed, you don't want to use a shutter speed that's too high or you'll start to see a gradient appear over your image. So I just always set mine at 1/125th of a second. So my settings for these shots were f11, 1/125th of a second at 100 ISO.
And if you don't like that, Brandy, photography is such a subjective.
You can try others for sure.
Art, you can try others. As long as you have the technical basics down, you're good. So.
But you can try those settings next time you're in the studio, and you'll see. Now, you may have to turn I'm going to go grab a texture real quick. You may have to turn the power of the strobe up or down based on what you're doing.
Correct.
All right. So, hey, let me just show you another thing that you can do. So back to this image we were just working on here. Not that one. This one. If you wanted to put here, I got a background here that I downloaded from Dollar Photo Club for $1. Select all and copy. Okay. And I paste it on top, and because it's a background, I just drag it to fit. Who cares? It's a background. Then you're going to change the layer blend mode, not to color, because that would just bring the color through. I usually use either soft light or overlay, and we'll just overlay just so it's very dramatic. And then I would just paint it away. Just go to the layer mask icon and just paint it away. Now, luckily, because it's just a background, it's easy to paint it away. You don't have to be, because I think a lot of people think you have to be really, really precise. Actually, you should be at 100% to paint this away. But the edges of the hair, you don't have to worry about getting all the way out there and stuff. You do want to get her arms because there's a texture over all of her. And in just a few seconds, you're set. And I actually go over this in a couple of my classes. Some of the ones I've released, like before and after from beginning to end, I go through this and then lower the opacity till it fits a little better with the image. Something like that. And I've got a bunch of other techniques that I use to make it look like the lighting matches better and all that kind of stuff.
You can do your own backgrounds.
That's it.
And
all right, Richard Dukeshire. Dukeshire? Something like that, Richard. Thank you. Yeah, anyway, how do I check for dust spots in Lightroom? I'm sure there is a way where it almost looks like an X-ray. By the way, Rick Salmon's class on transforming your home into a studio is great. The content on Kelby 1 keeps getting better and better. Richard, I love you.
Rick's the best.
I love you. Rick is awesome.
Love Rick.
I love Rick. So yes, Richard, there is a way to check for dust spots in Lightroom, and here's all you have to do. Go get the spot removal tool, and then in the toolbar that's under your image, you're going to turn on, what is it, show spots? Hang on, let me look. It's called, let me grab the tool, and I'll tell you, it's called turn on visualize spots, right there. This little button right there, turn on visualize spots, and it will show you where they are. If I have a chance, we're kind of got a lot of questions, but if I have a chance, I'll find a shot with some spots. Shouldn't be hard, and I'll show you in a minute. Brandon, are these available from B&H and others?
They are. All the major photo retailers out there, so B&H is probably the most well-known.
Yes, we love B&H. I buy all my stuff from B&H. Get a B&H. Okay, so James Anderson asks, would the beauty dish be good for a group of people?
Probably wouldn't be my first choice.
Nah, it's...
just
now,
because there's so many mixed skin types and
what
I
about
talked about
what about
earlier.
your next bigger one from this? A Rapid Box?
The
but
Rapid
bigger.
Box XL or the Double XL. Same exact open and close, so it's super easy. And that comes in a 36-inch or a 48-inch size. Those would be a modifier that I would choose for a larger group. You know, wedding parties, things like that.
All right, I'm just looking for spots while we're waiting here. I can usually find.
But that's a good question. You can also use an umbrella. I know it's not your modifier of choice, but
Not
just
my modifier
A
of choice.
shoot-through or reflective umbrella for a group are very common modifiers. Also, just a traditional, 36 by 48 square modifier. There's lots of good modifiers for groups, but this beauty dish is really great for individuals. Not to say you can't, but it wouldn't be my first choice if I was choosing a modifier.
You notice how I kind of left you on your own there, and now you're just kind of
Dancing with the wolves.
dancing with the wolves. All right, let's see. I'm looking for an image with spots. Okay, all right. So can we turn back to my screen real quick? So here is an image. This, by the way, was taken with a, say it with me, beauty dish, right? So here's to answer the question earlier, which was from Richard, because Richard said such nice things that now I must go all the way and show Richard anything he wants. Here we go. Go to the spot removal tool here in Lightroom. It is right here, up in the corner, spot removal. Then what you're going to do is go to visualize spots. And there's a slider here that helps you visualize spots. And you can see, look, there's a spot here, 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 there. They're all over the place. All you have to do is take the tool then and click once. And you can do it right from this visualize spot screen. And they're gone, gone, gone. So right there, and just paint right over that little bit there, and there you're going, and then just turn them back off, and life is good. So that's how you do that to answer Richard, my new best friend. Let's see what else. So what is the best way to get the most natural pictures of families?
It's a loaded question.
Yeah, that's like saying, what's the best car? Well, I think, number one, the most natural pictures of family will come from not posed pictures.
Correct.
Is to be able to build a rapport and have them relaxed around you and stuff. That's going to really create. From a lighting aspect, I would say you want to get a picture of a family, you're going to need a very large softbox. Now, we were using a 5-foot. So behind our subject, we had a 5-foot octabank, right? 5 feet. 5 feet.
5 feet?
And I aimed it at a 45-degree angle up at the ceiling. So that way the light wasn't coming towards me at the camera, because it'll tend to like wash out and look non-contrasty. So by aiming it up, it still gives you the rim light on your subject's face, or what you can call it, it is rim light, kicker light. A kicker light on the sides of the face. And, but that was what we were using back there. So you need a like a 5-foot softbox, something like that, very, very large. And here's the thing. Get the light set up. So you're here. Here's what I would do. I'm just going to tell you, if I was going to shoot a family, here you are. And that's shooting a family with lighting. You don't always have to shoot a family. Shoot them outdoor in the park or whatever.
Sure.
In that case, you need a scrim gym. So do the scrim gym. Scrim gym is so picture the front of a
Scrim Gym
softbox.
Cine is the new name. We've actually upgraded the Scrim Gym. Scrim Gym actually went over a pretty major overhaul this past year, in the latter parts of last year, but it now has positive locking, so everything is easily...
Oh, I hated the negative locking, so thank you for switching that to positive locking.
And you can build everything from a 1x1 all the way up to an 8x8, or if you've gone to see us at Photo Plus out in New York in October, last year we built our booth out of Scrim Gym, because it's now a modular system. You can do 3-dimensional. You could literally go outside and make a light tent outdoors if you're doing, photos all day and you know that the lighting conditions are going to change and you want them to be constant throughout the entire day. You can go and make a light tent with the current Scrim Gym. So it's really a beefier system now.
It's beefy.
All the great, standard fabrics,
Beefy.
from diffusion to nets to reflectors to, are all still there. So Scrim Jim Cine is the new name.
Okay. So that's the thing that you do outdoors is basically put a big diffuser. It's like the front of a softbox, but on a frame. You put it between the sun and your subject. So that's what I would do outdoors. Yeah. Indoors, big softbox. I'm going to show you a trick that's wonderful for that in just a second. We have a lot of questions. I want to answer this one from Ryan Nolan. So Ryan, he says, what mode do you use to get an ambient light reading when you're balancing the ambient with flash? So I'll tell you what I do is this. Number one, I'm going to be in manual mode for sure. Number two is I know that I want my speed light to be at a shutter speed of 1/125th of a second. So I also know that I'm going to probably want my since I'm using flash, I'm going to want my ISO at 100. So the only question now is, what's my f-stop going to be? So what I do is with the camera in hand, I pretend I don't own a flash. And I go and I'm just going to move the f-stop. Now inside your camera, depending on whether you have a Nikon or a Sony, depending on whether it's the bottom of the screen or the right side of the screen, you're going to see a meter. And what you want to get the correct ambient light reading is you want your meter to go to the center, to the 0 spot or the plus or wherever it is. I mean, you want not a plus; it's a line.
It's dead center.
It depends. You want a dead center. Now that will get you what the correct ambient light reading is for the scene. However, that's not what you want to do with flash. What you want to do then is lower the ambient light and then let the flash light your subject.
How much? A third of a stop?
I go a lot. Now
I only go a third. I like to see
oh,
it.
Dude.
Like this morning I was going a third.
If it is sunrise or sunset, and if I would tell you to go shoot somebody, I'd say go sunset. I'll drop it a stop to 2 stops.
Yeah.
It's a stylistic thing. So he's not wrong. It's just that's his style, which is wrong. No, it isn't. He's not absolutely not wrong. But I'll go out there. I get the ambient light, and then I'm going to drop it way down. I'm going to drop it now. I'm always going to put my subject's sun to their back. When I put the sun to their back, number one, it's going to give them a rim light, right? So it's the sun's behind them, and then all I'm going to do is provide the fill light in front. So I'm going to drop it at least 1 stop, sometimes 2 stops. I have videos on this stuff, by the way. Videos. If you're a Kelby One member, go watch my Hot Shoe Flash on a Budget. Go watch that class over on Kelby One. Let's. Oh, we already answered that one.
Do anonymous.
All right. So anonymous 613-254-811 asks, Brandon, what is one strobe that would work best with this beauty dish, but it's not too expensive from Westcott?
Well, head over to our site. The Strobe Light Plus is not too expensive. That's a 400 watt second strobe. And then if you want something a little less expensive, you can actually look into just the Strobe Light. And that's a 200 watt second strobe. Now, those strobes, importantly, if you want to match them up with the beauty dish, they have the Bowens mount. So that is the mount that we use at Westcott. So Strobe Light Plus or Strobe Light.
Awesome. Johan, who I believe is in the Netherlands, wants to know, oh, he is, there it is, says, will it be sold worldwide and when will it be available in the Netherlands?
It will be available in the Netherlands, probably in the next couple weeks. It takes a little bit of time to ship over there, but certainly it will be available throughout all of Europe, South America, everywhere, Australia.
Everywhere. And you will, Johan, I was really impressed at the build, like the quality of it and the results.
One of our beefiest soft boxes, for sure.
It's really well built. Let's see what else we got. Regards, so Adrian Guerrera, I'm sorry, we're just going to leave this at Adrian. Regards from Uruguay, guys. The grid in Facebook Live is awesome. Thank you very much. Welcome, glad you're watching. Let's see. Mattia Ippolito asked, and guys, I just want to tell you up front, I'm really bad at names. That's why every time Johan's name comes up, I never pronounce his last name. Yeah, we know Johan. Johan is a really good.
Stupendal.
Is that right, Stupendal? It sounds so easy when you say it. Why do I always get it wrong? Stupendal. Yeah, now, if he comes back and says that's totally wrong, then it's on you.
I'm sorry, Johan.
But that does look right. All right. Mattia Ippolito with OS 10 and Lightroom. How can I make sure there is no double color management when I print with Canon printers? Well, you're either going to choose in Lightroom or Photoshop, you have to choose Printer Manages Color or Photoshop Manages Color. You can't choose both. So when you go to print, you have that choice of who's managing the color. Make sure that you choose Photoshop Manages Color or Printer Manages Color. With Epson printers, there's a dialog box where it says the color management and the printer is turned off. You're going to do this actually in Photoshop, not in your printer software. And then, let's see. I use this is Pradipta? Pradipta? Data? We have an international audience today. I use Lightroom CC on my PC as well as my laptop. What is the best way to manage the catalog? Oh, that's easy. That's like a whole class. I'm working on a class. I'm working on a class on a new way to manage your entire image library, starting with what you do on your hard drives first. Wow. And then replicating the same management you do on your hard drives in Lightroom. So you could be on a desert island and someone calls you, because that's where you always get called. And you would say, I got to find an image and I'm here with your hard drive. And you'd be able to tell them without ever even having your computer in front of you or anything in front of you exactly where every single image is. So if you had an image from a football game from 5 years ago, and you could take them right to that image directly, and it's super easy. It's a new way of thinking about it. Okay. That's coming. It's not done yet because you asked a question that's like how to build a watch. It's very, very complex. Now, it's break time. When we come back, we're going to do a special giveaway today, right? So my brand new book, How Do I Do That in Photoshop, just came out like yesterday. Is it yesterday, right? Just came out? It was time to come out with the Westcott new beauty dish. No, not exactly. But anyway, it just came out yesterday. The print version is still on press, but the ebook version came out. We have codes to give away. How many codes do we have, Kim? We have 3. We have 3 codes to give away to my brand new book, How Do I Do That in Photoshop? So, which by the way is the #1 new photography book on Amazon. We just saw it today. We're very excited. Bestseller next to it and all. That's a big deal around here. We're popping champagne corks. Even my publisher contacted me and said, look. So anyway, we are going to take a short break. When we come back, we're giving away 3 codes to that book. Brandon will still be here. We're almost out of time, but we're taking your calls and some. And I got a lighting tip for you. Got a cool lighting tip for those of you who are just getting into studio lighting. I have something that I think will help you a lot. It's a very cool thing, and you don't hear people talk about it enough.
Not enough. And not only in studio, but on location.
Oh, yeah. It's not a studio thing. It's a lighting thing. You can do it anywhere. We're going to take a short break. Don't go back.
Don't go away. We'll be right back.
That thing he said.
I think as a professional, it's must to come and train yourself.
If you want to be serious, you want to take it to the next level, there's no reason why you're not here.
Exciting. Like, everybody's here and happy to be here, so it's a great environment to learn in. I really like it.
Amazing. Just meeting people, everyone is wonderful, willing to help you out and give you advice.
So much dense educational opportunities here. From the time you get in the morning to the time you leave at 7 p.m. at night, there's stuff to learn.
With all the choices of the classes, with all of the people that you meet, you can't help but learn new things and be inspired by other people that are attending as well.
Over the course of the last couple of years, Adobe has been consistently releasing and updating a series of free mobile apps. They run on the iPhone and the iPad, and in most cases, we've already moved them to Android. I'm really excited to show you just a little bit of what we're doing on the phone, the tablet, and the desktop. We're going to look at how these applications communicate with each other, how they communicate with the cloud, and how they're deeply integrated with the web and the desktop. You're going to learn all sorts of new things about creating content, editing it, and of course, accessing the files that you already have. I'm really excited to show you just some of what we're doing. Let's go ahead and get started.
In a world where the next hotshot is out of reach, one brand stands alone to let you take it. Meet Max. June 1st, Kickstarter only. 30 days. Please don't miss it.
Hey, we're back. Scott Kelby here with Brandon Heiss from FJ Westcott, the people that make all kinds of lighting. You know, because you came to my tour, I use your stuff on my tour. I've been using Westcott stuff. It's got to be for 10 or 12 years. I was using your stuff before you guys even knew who I was, and I actually wound up meeting Dave Piazza, and talking to him years ago and stuff. And I've been a big supporter of the stuff that you guys do. I think one of the things that you guys do better than anybody is, number one, and I know when we're talking today about a thing that's not hot shoe flash. But the softboxes and the gear that you make, your speed light modifiers, it's not just that you make them. It's not that you make so many of them. They're so inexpensive. On my tour, I use a 50 by 50 inch Mega JS Apollo. It's $169 bucks.
Yeah.
It's the biggest freaking softbox you've ever seen. And everybody wants a big softbox. I mean, the bigger the bigger the box, the more soft and wrapping the light and all. And it's fabulous. And it's $169 bucks. Okay. And then you've got the giant 7-foot parabolics for $99. You guys are alone in that field, in my opinion. I think you guys do a wonderful, wonderful job. You guys make all kinds of stuff, and I know you guys are huge for video. But
very big in video.
Thank you for still doing some stuff for us still guys.
You measly photographers. No.
Johan just wrote right on here on the Facebook. The Westcott quality is great. That's why I use them often.
Thank you, Johan.
Richard Spry, Westcott rocks.
Thanks,
all right?
Richard. Appreciate it.
And then Richard also says the platypus. I think he means the platypod. Looks sweet. So I'm just going to break away for 1 second before we do our giveaway. So a few weeks ago, they did a Kickstarter campaign on the Platypod. Now, have you ever seen the Platypod?
I have not.
So they did the Platypod Pro Max, which is this concept they had for, it basically is, it's not a tripod because it's a plate that sits on the ground. Okay. It's very, very thin, and it is made of like ballistic metal or something. It's the lightest weight, strongest stuff you've ever seen. You can mount a ball head and a big camera with a big lens on it, and it will not go over. It's really brilliantly built.
I haven't seen that.
And they did a Kickstarter campaign, and it was filled up like that and sold out like that.
Platypod.
Just like that. Platypod.
I missed out.
Yeah, go to Platypod. I think it's platypodpro.com or platypod.com. And you'll find it, and you can see their Kickstarter campaign. They had a 30% off deal. Anyway, just want to tell you guys that are watching, because we talked about it the last couple of weeks, their Kickstarter campaign was a huge success. They got the money that they needed to raise to start manufacturing, just like that.
Good for them.
I mean, like in days. So thanks to all of our readers who got their Platypods coming. Okay, or Platypod Pro Max coming, because that's the latest one. All right, so I want to show you, we're going to give you a tip, and then we're going to do the giveaway. So one of the things, I have to find it here. It'll take me just 1 second. But one of the things that I wanted to do, just for something that I was working on, was I wanted to do really, 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 really soft lighting. Because I've had people ask me this recently, was, you know, I have a big soft box, and the light is soft, but it's not as soft as I've seen some other people do. Like, how do I get insanely soft light? And this is the trick that I always tell them. And we've been talking about this a lot today. In the center of any softbox is the brightest part, right? One of the things that's awesome about a beauty dish is the center doesn't have that hot spot because it hits that metal plate.
Correct.
Metal deflector?
Deflector plate.
Deflector plate. Them and their fancy names. Hits the deflector plate and then comes back out, and that certainly helps. But the softest, most beautiful, most wrapping, most natural, most awesome light is at the edges, the very edges of the softbox, or just past it. Because when, you know, the light, unless you use a grid, it does spill out the sides a bit. And at the edge, the light is so incredibly creamy soft. When I say you need to be at the edge of the lighting, how far on the edge do you need to be? I asked Brandon. Brandon took a behind-the-scenes shot. If you'll take a look at my computer here, as long as I'm still connected to, look how far behind the light. The light is actually aiming straight past our subject.
That's like 1.5 feet. And certainly that's a large, that's a 5-foot
This is
octabank.
the 5-foot Westcott octabank.
But even if you had, let's say, a 28-inch Apollo, like a 28-inch square.
Right.
You would still be 6 inches off that. I mean,
yeah,
so
we're like 1.5 feet behind it. But I want to show you, give me just a second to find it, because we've got here, look how soft this lighting is. All right, so that lighting is really, really soft. Now this, one of the things I talked about earlier, there's the background. Remember I showed you how to put the background on?
The texture in there.
There's the background. I put a little...
Because we were shooting on a white cyc wall, but you had it fall to gray.
Right, I had it fall to gray by not lighting it, and then and a little of the light spilled onto there, but not enough to hurt anybody. Then we put the radial filter in Lightroom to kind of brighten her face and darken everything around it. And then the last part was to add a cross-processing effect in Nik Color Effects Pro. I went in and just added a little green to the background and some yellow to her face. But if you talk about really, really soft, like trying to mimic like natural light, this is very, very, very soft lighting. And so that's the secret that I wanted to share with you is don't put your subject. I think a lot of people, the very first thing they do is they aim their light right at their subject. But if you look, so if I was the subject and you were shooting me, the softbox would be here and the light's going that way. It's not aimed, yeah, here we go. Live studio demo. The light is going that way and I'm just catching the spill on the edge, but that spill on the edge called feathering. That feathered light makes it really, really soft and beautiful and creamy and all that kind of stuff.
And you can do this for groups. Somebody asked, about
the
lighting groups
family.
early.
That was the thing I wanted to say.
If we wanted to light both of us, you could feather like so, and it would be really soft light. And actually what I would do is I would point it from this direction, point it at you.
Right, because you're going to have
fall
fall
light
off.
would go to you, but I would call it it kisses my face while it's traveling.
It kisses his face.
Just a kiss of light.
Just a kiss of light on Brandon, and really that's all any of us can take. All right, let's talk about our giveaway. So the book, how do I do that in Photoshop? It's on press now, but we're going to give away 3. Count them, 3. 3 of the ebooks. You can go get them right now. Now, if you don't win, and there's a lot of people that watch the show, so it's possible you will not win. What you can do is right now for the next 10 days, our publisher, Rocky Nook, has a special deal. Now, they have a deal for Kelby One members, and then they also have a discount coupon you can use. So it's like kind of a deal for everybody. But go to, let's see if I can remember this address, rockynook.com. So that's my publisher, rockynook.com. /Photoshop dash something. I'm looking at Kim thinking she would know it. You know what? Go to my blog. Go to scottkelby.com and yesterday's post. Was it yesterday's? Yesterday's post. Tuesday's post was all about the deal. So go to my blog, scottkelby.com, and so it would be Tuesday's post, Tuesday the 14th. Go read that post, and there's a link and the 10-day deal to get. You can get the ebook for what? $10? $10. Tell me you won't learn something for $10.
That's cheaper than
That's cheaper than a softbox. It's cheaper than lunch at Chili's. It's $10. Okay, that's one. Number 2, today my guest blogger is Serge Romeli, my friend from France. Fantastique photographer, c'est magnifique. Make sure you go read. For anybody that gives you crap about using Photoshop on your photos, you got to go read his thing. He gives a really wonderful, very, very reasoned approach of why he does it, how he handles people that are like, oh, you're using Photoshop. Can I tell you something? He doesn't mention this, but I will. I've never met anybody who was good at Photoshop that complained about people using Photoshop. You know who complains about people using Photoshop? People that don't know Photoshop because they feel it's unfair. If they knew Photoshop and they were great at it, would they be complaining about it? That's like saying, oh, I only use natural light. Why? Because you don't know how to use a flash. If you knew how to flash, you'd be like, yeah, I use natural light, but I use flash anytime I can. Because once you know how to do something, you understand it, you get it, and you embrace it. When you don't, you're scared and you point at it like it's something bad because you don't know how to do it. It's the way it is. Just saying. But go read Serge's blog today. Also, where's Serge going to be in just a few weeks? Photoshop World. Hey, by the way, we're going to have a huge Photoshop World. Huge. We are 404 people ahead of where we were last year.
That's
at
awesome.
the same number of weeks away from Photoshop
Very
World,
cool.
which is awesome. We're going to have one of our biggest Photoshop Worlds in years. We want you to be there. It is July 19th through 21st out in Las Vegas at the Mandalay Bay Convention Center. Come stay with us at the Mandalay Bay. It's fabulous. You know who will be there? Serge Romeli. That's right. My guest blogger today will be Photoshop World. C'est fou. Anyway, come and see Serge and me and the crew and an awesome team of instructors. Go to photoshopworld.com.
The best in the world.
There you go. The best in the world.
All in one
All
place.
huddled together in one place and scared, very scared. Okay. So first we want to thank Kim for amply managing and doing a wonderful job today. Jen will be back next week, but I think she's like in New York, right? Isn't she like doing some hobnobbing up there with the photography community, and she's being all, I'm too good for you, I went to New York thing. But next week, she's not too good for us, so she'll be back. And Kim will be back monitoring all of these things. To enter our contest to win books, you're going to go to this address, webcast-contest. It's the easiest thing to remember ever. kelby1.com/webcast-contest. Go to the submission form and just leave your name and some comments, and you can, just tell us hi, whatever. And we will pick the winners, contact you directly. We don't care where you are in the world because we love you. We will send it to anywhere. It may take a little time to get there, but we'll send it anyway. Anyway, oh no, this is the ebook. You could just download it. Boom. From Rocky Nook, right? R to the Aki to the Nook. There you go. They kind of have a nasty name. Anyway, it sounds naughty. Thanks to our crew here, Mr. Wani, Meredith and the crew, and a special thanks to Brandon and the folks at Westcott for loaning us for you for the day. Thank you for coming and doing our demo.
Thank you for having me. It's been
Thank
fun.
you for showing the very first day it came out here on the grid. We are very honored. There it is. Hold the logo towards the front, man. There you go. That you can't see it lower. There we go. The Rapid Box, Joel Grimes, an amazing photographer and clearly a very wonderful designer of soft boxes, because that is absolutely beautifully done. Congratulations to you guys. And thank you guys for watching. Thanks to everybody watching the stream on Facebook. We will be back here next week. Who's my guest? I got a guest, but I can't remember who it is. Somebody interesting. No one's even. Oh. You know who my guest is next week? Seriously. Josh Haftel, the Lightroom mobile product manager from Adobe.
Now, because I can't.
No, you were awesome. No, you're thinking.
Josh, that's incredible.
Well, yeah. So the Lightroom product manager for mobile.
Let's ask him about. Oh, just mobile.
Just mobile. He's not.
Let's ask him about that.
Tethering. He's going to be like
stop tethering.
Yeah, he's going to be like, yeah, that's not me. But he's also doing a private members-only webcast for Kelby One members, which is awesome. And he's going to be doing a class while he's here, and he's going to be on the grid. It's going to be a Lightroom Mobile Love Fest next week on the grid. Tell your friends. Tell people you don't even know. Well, it's over, isn't it, Wani? Let's go to the jib. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you, Brandon.
Thank you.
And thanks to everybody at home. We'll catch you next week. Josh, did I tell you Josh is here? Next week from Adobe.